Hey, it's Gordon here with another segment of 2012, A Year with Mya-Moe Unscripted. And this week I'm going to show you how we do the slotted headstock. So here I've got a baritone neck, and what I've done is marked out some of the markings for the slotted headstock. Here you can see the entire headstock marked out on the back. And I'll take you through the various operations. I like this operation because it really demonstrates our philosophy. We like to do things manually and by hand, but we use a lot of tools and templates to help us do things with the highest possible quality and consistency. All right, so the first thing that I'm going to do is over at the bandsaw, I will be cutting out the rough outline of this headstock. So let's go do that right now. So now I've got my rough outline. The next thing I'm going to do is take it over to the disc sander, and we're going to clean up these sides and put our little radius on the end of the neck, and it's going to be ready to go in its first tool. Okay, I have now finished putting marks on the side of the headstock, and this is where my holes are going to go for the tuners. And to do this operation, I'm going to be drilling those tuner holes. They're 10 millimeter. And I'm going to use this really cool fixture. We get this, or piece of tooling, got this from Stuart McDonald. And you can see it rotates so it fits the side of the headstock no matter what thickness it is, always keeping the tuner holes at the exact right spacing. So here we go with that. So now we've got this mounted into our vise. Here's the drill with this little stop collar, and that's going to keep it from going too far in. And I just drill each one of them. Okay, so now we have the side holes for the tuners drilled, and we drilled those first because you always have to think about tear out. If we had cut the slots first and then drilled, the drill bit would tear out the wood as it went through the slot, and it wouldn't look very good. So by doing it in this order, we prevent that tear out. So now we've got to go and do the slots. We're going to do that in two steps. The first is going to be on the drill press, and the second on the pattern router. We've got this really cool template to use on the drill press, and it has this guide underneath, and you'll see it's going to ride on a pin, and it allows it to slide along right along the slot where the slot goes. So we're going to mount the neck and headstock into this fixture and clamp it down. Just like that. And now I'm going to drill along here. Now I'm going to drill halfway through each side. So I'm going to start from the back side, and I'm going to drill halfway, and then I'm going to go to the top side and drill halfway. And again, I do that because of tear out. If I went all the way through this in one pass, it tears out when it comes out the other side. So you'll see that right now. I use a Forstner bit for this. This is a Forstner bit because it drills a flat bottom hole, but also, unlike a twist drill bit, which you might think of as a standard drill bit, this will easily follow its own path, so it doesn't try to dive back into the hole you've just drilled, and it allows me to clean up a little easier, like this. Now, using the same side of my tool here, I'm going to drill the top half, so down from the top, on this slotted side. All right, now I'm going to flip this tool around after I clean it out, like that, and now the slot is on this side, as you can see. So I've got half of that slot done, half of that. Okay, so now we have our rough cut. Looks pretty ugly, doesn't it? That's just been done on the drill press, but you can see there's no tear out along the top or the bottom. And now we're going to go to this, which is our pin router. It's called that because there's a little tiny pin down here and a router up above, and you have a little template and it follows that pin. Here's my template, and so that's going to sit on top of that pin. Our neck is going to mount in there. We're going to drop the router down and cleanly route out both slots. That's what's up next. So here it is right off of the router, and you can see just how perfect now those slots are. They're all cleaned up, they're ready for final sanding. The last thing I have to do is by hand, I've got to cut little channels here for the strings to follow, and I'll show you that operation. So first with this file, which is very rough, I rough it out. By the way, after using the last few tools, I think you'll understand why we always wear eye and ear protection in the shop. A lot of loud noises going on. So there's one side done. You know, I'm quite particular about the design of every aspect of our instruments. And for me, while I love aesthetics and I love the looks, performance is more important. So the design of the slotted headstock in particular is designed so that the strings, as they exit the nut and go to each tuner, don't contact the headstock itself. I've seen a lot of slotted headstocks where the strings kind of mash against the sides, and I just don't think that's good for the acoustics, and I just don't think it's good for the strings. So anyway, that's why ours is designed the way it is. Okay, on to the next slot. So now we've got them both done and we're ready for final sanding. First, of course, we're going to glue on the fingerboard and we're going to shape the neck. One of the coolest things I think about this, it's just a little touch, but we put this really thin veneer, we laminate it between our headstock and the head plate here. And when I do the slotted headstock, you can see that black veneer in there, and I love the way when I do the little slots here that it stretches out, and I have to be very particular about how those are shaped because the more it stretches out, the more it has to be perfectly even. Anyway, that's it. Thanks, and I'll see you next week.